Just like to remind everyone, this will be recorded, and the recording will subsequently be made available for public listening. Before we get under the formal part of the meeting, I think I would like to record our condolences to the family of former Town Councillor Gordon Tremble, whose funeral takes place today, and I think we should place it in public record. His great service, both as a councillor and a trade unionist. I hope members would agree with that. Okay. Could we have the Sederunt?
We have apologies from Councillors Carson, Collins and Gilroy. Councillor Maitland is running late but will be along to the meeting, and Councillor Scobie is in the building but not in the room at this time. Accordingly, we start the meeting with 14 members.
Thank you very much. Any declarations of interest? No. Moving on, item 3, delegations to Community Customer Services Committee. Alex, do you have anything to add to the report?
Nothing to add to the report, Chairman. A member very kindly pointed out to me that there's the issue of health and well-being is not included, or appears not to be included within the remit. I would argue that it is part of Community and Customer Services functions and therefore is included, but I'll clarify that with the subcommittee when it meets in March, sir, and it can go forward to full council. You don't have the power to change the delegation here today, but we have got a note of it administratively and we'll attend.
I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Report? No. Move to recommendations. Okay, thank you. Move on to item 4, Community Customer Services Budget Monitoring Report. Do you have anything to add, Alex?
Chairman, just to say there's a projected underspend of £24,000. There are certain budget areas where we're currently overspending and areas where we're underspending, which allows us to balance the books. There's an explanation in the report as to why the overspends and underspends are occurring, but I'm happy to take questions from members. If I can't answer them, I'm quite sure Richard can.
Thank you very much. Councillor Thompson, I think you had a question on the budget.
Yeah, well, there's twofold actually. One was just a sort of figure that stands out in the Appendix 1, which is the £69,000 variance in Annandale and Eskdale. Obviously that's, as you're saying, offset by some of the savings elsewhere, but it was just, I mean, that's seems quite a sort of a high figure, and I was just wondering if you could maybe speak a bit more about that first. Thanks.
This relates to the savings across the service. It's very much, the savings were very much dependent on ERVS and efficiencies. We've already achieved savings of 81k from this service. There's a balance of 69k required. We were looking for ERVS and reductions in contracted hours. Obviously, we cannot control who applies for voluntary early retirement and severance. We are working on that at the moment, and we will look at other areas of making savings if we are not able to achieve it. It may come through the next report where we've got a number of issues for integration, etc. But we are working on that at the moment, sir.
Just to come back, this is maybe the territory of the next report, but there's £126,000 worth of savings that have been agreed to be implemented this year in the integration process. And I was just wondering, would that 126,000 show up in this service analysis breakdown of budget? And if so, where would that be? And if not, I'm happy to look at that in the next report.
I think this report covers the current year. If you're talking about savings projected for next year, it won't be in this report, sir.
I think that's the very point, is that in the first line of the next paper, it actually says the 126,000 for this year's savings. So I was just wondering where I would find that in this particular report. Thanks.
Yeah, paragraph 3.1, but it does point out that by the end of this financial year, 126 will be achieved, and that doesn't tie in with the figure that's in report number 4.
Chair, yeah, the library's integration and CSC registration budget all sits within customer services as opposed to A&E customer services area framework. So that's not part of that 69k.
Okay, thanks.
Any further questions on this report? Move to the recommendations. Members happy to accept? Okay. Move on to item 5. Anything to add to the report, Mr. Haswell?
Chairman, I think we're happy to take questions on the report. You'll see that it's proposing to widen elected member and community engagement in the integration process. We've got some proposals set forward for members here to look at, and we're happy to take questions.
Members, any questions? Ian?
It's here pretty much to note, and we agree with the frequency at the end at 2.4. But in regards to the feedback we get from the public and the members and such, like, how will that inform the report that comes back and the decisions that are made later on?
Chair, yeah, just perhaps draw members' attention to 3.6 that talks a wee bit about the further discussion and agreement in regard to the consultation with an engagement and communication process. It would be our intention through you, Chair, that where following that consultation there's a requirement to adapt the indicative population model, that detail will be subject to a report back to this committee, I think in April, Chair.
I suppose what I'm trying to get to the bottom of, Richard, more than anything, is how much cognizance will be taken of the information, the feedback through the consultation, in particular for the public. I'm thinking some of the way things were received last year, some of the things I'm hearing on the ground at the moment, just how will it, some things are not positive, some things are quite negative. Just how will that inform the report coming back? Will they take strong recognition of the information that comes from it?
Yes, through you, Chair, we'll obviously bring back all the detail in regard to the consultation engagement to members to inform your decision-making process. We'll include that in the report.
Okay. Archie?
Thanks very much, Chair. I'm just looking at, for clarification and confidence that the learning from the Gretna integration is actually taken forward as well, because there was some issues at the start of the integration process through the Gretna library, registration office and customer service centre issues. So I'm just looking for clarification that learning is being taken forward to the other areas.
Absolutely. So that's why this report's before members. We are endeavouring to improve communication. What we're looking at is communication. We have a saving to make from this budget heading, but we will ensure that we have full engagement with the communities, full engagement with staff, and full engagement with the local members as to what we're doing and why we're doing it and how we're taking it forward. I think Councillor Driver is maybe referring to the health and safety and the data protection issues. They have clearly, we've learned a lesson there, and that is being taken forward through all the integrated services.
Thanks very much, Chair. That's really, it's good to hear standing the less than perfect process that was employed, and that's being euphemistic about it, last year, that we're in a situation, and we've given the undertakings, in fact, that all groups, including elected members, will be adequately consulted, and I presume that that consultation brings up any issues, Chair. These issues will be brought back to this committee for resolution.
Yes, sir. That's the intention.
Yeah, Chair, as the officers were well aware, there's a bit of a wind getting up behind the library hours in Wigtown Library, being Scotland's national book town, and I'm wondering what is the process for maybe looking at extending those hours to more acceptable to the local community. Is there a process in place? Has it to be done through members, or is it done through groups bidding in for extra hours to be added on?
Without wishing to put too fine a point on it, there's been much about Wigtown Library, but nobody's actually spoken to the officers who are responsible for the integration. We will be taking forward a full consultation with the library users and the community in Wigtown. We're well aware of the Wigtown Book Town issue, and I think that the leader of the council, when the budget was fixed, intimated that we could readily accommodate Wigtown Book Town. We'll keep the library open 24/7 for 2 weeks if they want during the Book Town. But yes, there will be further public consultation that will come back to members here, sir.
Yeah, well, on the back of Graham's question, Chair, my understanding, in fact, is at the moment, there are various submissions in the course of being prepared by various community groups, such as the the Festival and Booktown Committee, such as the local primary school and the Parent Council and the Community Council are going to be acting as coordinators in that process. But my understanding, sir, is that a case will require to be made, spelling out clearly why, in fact, it's felt that that particular issue should be revisited. And on that basis, my understanding, Chair, is it will be brought back to this committee for determination, because what was already said previously was that there was £80,000 worth of money which could be used inter alia, as it were, to fund additional opening hours, etc. At that time. That's my understanding of it. Can I have clarification that that's indeed the case, Chair?
That's correct, Chairman. What we will be doing is we will be fully consulting and engaging with the community to talk to them, and we will come back to this committee. We are well aware of the sensitivity of Wigtown.
Thank you. I apologise, Chairman, for being late. The road is shut at Cagunnion, did I know? I do now. Chairman, exactly this point. It's about the system for making people aware that there is an ability to come back for discretionary extensions, because I think it's important that all library users and all communities should know that that exists. And I think there should be a transparent system for indicating to people that that is the case. If that's not the case, there is the danger that it looks as if there's a slush fund being used and applied, and it's not being clear as to what the reasons are to make a difference to one community as the other. So I wonder if you could explain how that's going to work.
I think the report makes it clear, but we're going to consult with everybody. We're talking more than just Wigtown, remember, and therefore be for this committee to decide whether they give Wigtown extra hours or give Johnston extra hours or whatever. If we give anybody extra hours, there's not a slush fund there. Graham, you want to come back in?
Yeah, I did. I was disappointed in the governance officer's advice, or chief executive services. I got the answer I wanted, but I got it from a member. I was hoping I would get it from an officer, and I didn't. So.
Oh, well, that's a compliment, Chair, or a slap in the wrist on my part, but never mind. I think, going back to the point that Graham has made, our community is aware of it. Well, I would imagine that most communities are aware of it. Certainly, that particular community are well aware of it. And indeed, what will happen is that a submission will have to be made. And on the basis of that submission, it will be brought back as part of the consultative process, Chair, to this committee, and a decision will be taken either to support the representations which have been received or not to do that. But I think it's absolutely imperative at the end of the day that we're seen to be dealing with this whole process, Chair, in a consistent, even-handed fashion from Annandale and Eskdale to Wigtown.
Yeah, totally agree with that, Chair. I mean, if people are going to come with submissions, then we need to have clear outcomes, objectives, that type of thing, to make sure we get the value for money that we're actually giving to these particular areas. And I'm pleased to hear it's not just about Wigtown at the end of the day. There are other areas who may require extra openings, such as Lockerbie, for instance, not in my ward, but there is opportunity there for the Jazz Week and all that sort of stuff.
Thanks. Might help Councillor Nicholl if I say, yeah, we will be applying consistency of approach, and you as members will require to be satisfied that there is a fairness applied across the board, and it's not just done because someone shouts loudest.
Thank you for that reassurance, Mr. Haswell.
Thank you. I had kind of two questions. One's sort of, I think, been touched on already. It was just to do with the when Mr. Greaveson referred to 3.6 in terms of the adaptation of the indicative population model, sort of given the lessons learned over the process, because there was an issue about the proportionality of hours to the number of people, etc. But it's a bit more complex than that. I appreciate that. Second question was to do with 3.24 in the report, page 14, to do with the press day. As part of the consultation exercise, if you like, or information exercise, and I was just wondering, the part where they come along to take pictures, is this going to be like a tour of each area, or is it like in one location, or is it kind of, who are they going to be taking pictures of folk, or like facilities, or? Thank you.
Chair, I'll answer the first question if I may, and then hand over to Annie for the second. In terms of the adaptation to the indicative population model, I hope it gives members some comfort that, as Councillor Geddes refers to, following the submission and representation to inform members' decision-making, we'll not only present information in regard to the indicative population model, but also around the number of issues at each of these facilities, the number of computer sessions, the overall number of visits, the memberships, and the active use of those members. So we'll bring all of that information back for members' consideration that will hopefully help you and inform that decision-making process.
In terms of 324, that comes in the communication section, and that I think is about at the end of the process, making sure that we celebrate the successes where we've had them, which we've also not been so good at in the past year, and also to let all of the communities within Dumfries and Galloway see the work that has been done and the improvements that have been made within the facilities. So it would be about images within the facility of what is available in the different.
Thank you. So it's an opportunity really to sort of show off the successes in each area, I guess. And just on your earlier answer, Richard, obviously there's a temporal aspect to the figures, because like say major events are going to have peaks of usage at certain times which might not come out in the actual figures, so I presume that'll be accounted for in the actual the work that comes forward.
Thanks very much indeed, sir. And on the back of the discussion thus far and on the basis of the recommendations contained in the report, I take it, Chair, that at the conclusion of this meeting, and in accordance with the principles of good consultation and good communication, there will be an appropriate press release or press releases issued, as it were. The length and breadth of Dumfries and Galloway, particularly, that would be particularly helpful for those communities, in fact, where this is an issue, but also for all communities, Chair. I would hope that would be the case.
Can we move on to the recommendations? 2.1, I would ask that we change the recommendation there slightly, that after note D, put in the word proposed, and therefore that makes it more consultative, if you like. They are proposed. If we're going out to consultation, we're going out to propose their changes. If members are happy to agree that. 2.2, agreed. 2.3, 2.4, thank you very much. Now move on. Mr. Haswell.
Chairman, I would like to withdraw item 6. It doesn't actually lie within the remit of this committee. The problem I have is that in the exuberance to get this committee off the ground, we brought an additional item. With, it should really go to Policy and Resources Committee. Chairman. It doesn't lie within the remit of this committee. We'll just withdraw it and bring it forward.
Councillor Bell.
Chair, just wondering, obviously, I was going to raise the issue here as well about that. Shouldn't it go to Nestile Area Committee? Obviously, it'll be go to consultation with Lorburn Community Council, which is the Community Council for that area. Was it going to Nestile Area Committee? Normally in the past, we'd go to area committees for members and it was recommended.
My understanding is that it may very well have been to Nestile Area Committee in December, sir, but I'll check that.
Yeah, when was it Nestile Area Committee? Months ago?
December time, sir, I think.
Right.
I'll certainly check that for Councillor Bell.
No, I'm not against it. Just wanted the process to be followed properly.
Okay.
Councillor Nicholl.
Thank you, Chair. Just in your exuberance, did you forget to put the plan in, because it's not plan on the paper?
It's on the agenda. It slipped off the back of the printer for some reason.
It's withdrawn anyway, so you don't need a plan. Councillor Prentice.
Yeah, I appreciate it's been withdrawn, Chair, but just when I was reading it, has it been round all the houses of other departments asking for?
Yes, it has, sir.
Yeah,
it's a piece of land, if members want to know, it's a piece of land on the banks of the Nith, which stretches down from Moat Bray. It's been to education in case it affected the Dumfries Learning Town, etc., etc., etc. We're recommending that you dispose of it to a good project, which is hitting the national headlines.
I've no further business.
Chair, I'd just like to compliment yourself and the Vice Chair for the smooth running of this meeting today, other than error on item 6.
Problem. Thank you all very much. We'll see you at the next meeting.